Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing great and taking care of yourself. In this YouTube channel, we talk about different DevOps tools like Git, Ansible, Jenkins. We also talk about different cloud certifications and how to clear them. Um, I have a playlist created on Azure Fundamentals, AWS Cloud Practitioner, where I have shared my inputs as how to clear that certification and what all you need to have as a part of study material. We also talk about Linux fundamentals and the shell scripting, which is an important technology or a scripting language you should know if you're stepping into the shoe of DevOps or SRE engineer. So kindly do watch that playlist, and if you have liked it, please do share with your friends and colleagues, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel because it really motivates me. Coming back to today's video, we are going to talk about one of the important IAC tool which is widely used now in every startup company or banking financial organizations, be it JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, or a big banking firms. And that tool is nothing but a Terraform. The Terraform helps you to solve your classic or a traditional approach of IAC, where it helps you to provision the infrastructure within a couple of minutes. Yes. Also, Terraform has a lot of features which we'll be talking about in this video. And you need to get familiar with some of the basic commands and at last need to understand the workflow of Terraform. So without any delay, let's get started. So friends, let's first learn what is Terraform. What is the definition of Terraform? So Terraform is a tool for infrastructure provisioning to build infrastructure through code, often called as infrastructure as code, IAC. The Terraform is a tool for building, changing, and versioning infrastructure safely and efficiently. In short, the Terraform is the tool which allows you to automate, manage your infrastructure, your platform, and the services that run on that platform. One of the important points to be noted here is the Terraform is an open source and declarative language, which means you define what you want rather than describing precisely each step or how to do it. So that's the beauty of Terraform. On the right hand side, you see a life cycle of Terraform. And one important thing to remember here is whatever you write the code of Terraform, it is always saved in .tf file. So you write a code, you initialize it, validate it, plan it, and finally execute it. So that's a simple life cycle of a Terraform. We will go this into a depth in the following slides. So now let's move to next part of it, which is understanding the Terraform features and benefits. So the first feature or benefit of the Terraform is declarative configuration, which we have seen in our previous slide, that Terraform is a declarative language, which means you define what you want rather than worrying of how that will get executed. But let's understand the definition of declarative configuration from Terraform perspective. Terraform uses simple and readable language to describe your infrastructure requirements. Instead of worrying about the specific steps to create each resource, you can focus on what you want your infrastructure to look like. And this plays a very essential role for compliance and disaster recovery. Once you have defined how your infrastructure should look like, say on a production environment, and now you want to move to a disaster recovery environment due to some issue in production, all you need to do is get that TF file, initialize it, plan it, and validate, and finally apply it. It will create the replication of your prod environment on a disaster recovery environment, same has to same. And one important thing is, if you execute that whole TF file again and again, you will never see any change. That means it will always the output of that .pf file would always remain same. It will never change. So that really helps whenever you do production failover or something happens on your production side and now you want to move immediately to BCP. Moving to the next feature or benefit of Terraform is automation made easy. With Terraform, you can automate the provisioning and management of your infrastructure. Remember, in our previous video, we talked about a lot of steps which you need to execute if you're provisioning a new infrastructure or upgrading to a new infrastructure. With a Terraform, this can be done within few minutes. Moving to the automation made it easy, that means you can sit back, relax while Terraform does the heavy lifting for you. It is like having a robot frame who follows your instruction flawlessly. So that's what is the Terraform doing. Once you have defined what you want, no need to worry. It will take care of it, how to get it provisioned for you and made it available for you. The third important Terraform feature or a benefit is multi-cloud magic. The Terraform, being an open source infrastructure, has a code software tool used for provisioning the infrastructure on cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, DigitalOcean, etc. With Terraform, you can not only provision or create an infrastructure on-premise, but you can also do the provisioning of your infrastructure on the cloud platforms, right? So that's why the Terraform is widely used, especially when you are moving your infrastructure to the multi-cloud platforms. Write once, execute multiple times, in short. The fourth benefit here is reduce development cost. Plan and apply. Terraform helps you plan ahead before making any changes to your infrastructure. It analyzes your code, shows a preview of what will happen when you apply it. This way, you can review and double check everything, ensuring a smooth and error-free provisioning process happens. Don't worry, we are going to understand what is Terraform plan, what is Terraform apply, how does Terraform plan helps you to review what infrastructure you want before you execute a command called Terraform apply. So this way you are 100% sure that this is how my infrastructure will look like. And if you want to make any changes, that's where the Terraform plan gives you an option whether you want me, where it takes an approval from you, whether you want me to go ahead with this or no. So that's what it helps you to reduce the development cost. That once you have decided this is what I want, it will do. So you don't need to again rewrite, develop everything, right? Moving to the next important Terraform feature here is state management, which Ansible does not provide you, and that's where the Terraform overtakes the Ansible. With Ansible, you can provision the infrastructure, but you can't revert back. You need to again rewrite everything. But with Terraform, Terraform keeps the track of the current state of your infrastructure in file. The last important thing, a feature is version control. Since Terraform being an IAC tool, you can upload your code of Terraform in a central repository, which can be Git, GitHub, and as and when you need to track, you can track that using a version control, which is Git or GitHub, whatever version control you're using. So let's learn that. Terraform's configuration files can be version control, which makes it easy to track the changes and roll back to previous versions. So until now, we have got what all benefits and features of Terraform helps an DevOps engineer or SRE to make its life easier rather than going with a traditional or a classic IAC approach. Moving to our next slide, where we will be talking about the Terraform commands. So without any delay, let's move to that. So friends, let's learn some of the Terraform basic commands. Once you have installed the Terraform CLI on your local computer on any of the cloud platform, be it an Azure or AWS, you need to then type Terraform in command and you will see all these main important commands. So it's going to be Terraform init, it's going to be Terraform validate, it's going to be Terraform plan, Terraform apply, Terraform destroy, Terraform show, Terraform refresh, Terraform import, Terraform output. So that's how our commands are. But some of the basic commands you should know if you are preparing yourself for a junior DevOps engineer role or a junior SRE engineer role, because in the interview, they expect you to know these 8 or 10 commands because you will be using that in your day-to-day infrastructure provisioning if you're working as a DevOps engineer or SRE engineer. So let's start with the first one, which is init. It says, prepare your working directory for other commands. This is the command where you are basically initializing your Terraform first time. Then it's a validate. Check whether the configuration is validate. The plan shows the changes required by the configuration. Apply. Create or update the infrastructure. Once you have initialized, validate, plan, the most important command is your apply command, which will basically create if the infrastructure never exists, or if the infrastructure exists, it's going to basically update the infrastructure. If you want to destroy any of your infrastructure, but make sure you do not execute this destroy command in production, because it will destroy every infrastructure what you have created. You need to be very specific of what infrastructure you want to destroy. There are certain parameters which needs to be passed, which we will be seeing in our demo session. So destroy means Terraform destroy means destroy the previously created infrastructure. Then there is something called as a show command. Show command is used to provide a human readable output from a state or a plan file. Remember, the Terraform's beauty is that it maintains the state management. So it has something called as a state file where it knows what your current infrastructure state is. Then there is a state list. State list command will list all the resources in the state file. The 8th command is refresh. Refresh the state in Terraform TF state file if the resources have changed, right? So tomorrow, if you have modified anything from an external source or which you will be using as an import to an Terraform state file, then you might need to refresh your Terraform state file. Then import your existing infrastructure into a Terraform state. And the last is output. List all the outputs currently held in your state file. So there would be a scenario where you want to make, you want to see what is the output of certain infrastructure. Once it's executed, you can use a Terraform output stuff to get that. I hope you got a basic understanding of all the commands, at least from a theoretical perspective, what each command does. But don't worry, our practical demo session is going to be happening in next video, where I will be executing all these commands and showing you each and every use of that. Now, let's move to our last slide, which is Terraform Workflow. And this is how our Terraform workflow looks like. Let me just erase this for you. Okay. So the Terraform workflow is init. which is the first step used to initialize the working directory containing the Terraform config files. So this command is going to initialize where you have installed your Terraform. It's going to initialize all your working directory containing all the Terraform config file where the Terraform is installed. This is the first command that should be run after writing a new Terraform configuration file. Remember, once you write .tf, which is our Terraform configuration, then you need to basically initialize it. It downloads all the providers. Say, for an example, I want to create an EC2 instance on AWS. So now I need that provider. Don't worry, I will explain you what is the provider in our next video, but it needs all the necessary providers to be pulled into the working directory before even it starts creating the particular infrastructure on that provider, which can be any cloud provider, AWS, GCP, Azure, DigitalOcean, etc. So this command does that. It gets all the binaries, libraries, whatever is necessary in order to make a connection to the cloud provider. The second is validate. Validates the Terraform configuration files in that specific directory to ensure they are syntactically validated and internally consistent. So it's like doing the validation, like we do the Ansible command verification when we have written a YAML file, right? So this is something similar to that. Then you have something called as the plan one. So what this plan does is it creates an execution plan and shows to you that how the plan looks like before you approve it. So creates an execution plan. Terraform performs a refresh and determines what actions are necessary to achieve the desired specified in the configuration files. So whatever you have specified, it will show you a preview of that I'm going to create this infrastructure on this cloud provider. This is how the configuration is going to be. And once you say yes, it will then, now the next stage is apply. Use to apply the changes required to reach the desired state of the configuration. So whatever you have defined in .tf file with Terraform apply, it picks from that and it basically executes that. By default, apply scans the current directory for the configuration and applies the changes appropriately. The last workflow is destroy, which you need to be very careful if you're using Terraform, especially in your production environment. So Terraform destroy used to destroy the Terraform managed infrastructure. That means whatever you have created your infrastructure using a Terraform, it will destroy that. So this will ask for confirmation before destroying. So it's a very tricky command, and you need to be very cautious before even you enter yes confirmation. So I hope with this Terraform series part 2, you got an idea what is Terraform, what are its features, what are some of the important commands you should know when you are applying for a junior DevOps engineer role or a junior SRE engineer role. And the last and the least is the Terraform workflow, which we will be going through in our next video practically. Until then, take care and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that notification bell icon to get notified whenever I upload such videos. Until then, take care. Shabak.